Hello guys, can you hear me? Please let me know that you can hear me on the chat box. All right, we'll give a couple of minutes for others to join and then we'll start the class. So let me share my screen while we wait for others to join. Once it's 5 minutes past 12, we'll start the class. All right, let's get started. So my name is James Gabriel, and I'm a data analyst, and I'll be your instructor for the duration of this. The free classes are supposed to run for 4 days, from today till Thursday, and on each day we're supposed to cover something different. So today being the first day, we'll be treating introduction to tech and data analytics. Basically, what I'll do today is introduce you to what tech is, explain the different tech fields, the requirements to get started in them, and how you can actually get started in them. I believe that we have people from all different levels on this call. We have beginners, we have people who already have like a little bit of experience. By the end of these free classes, you should be able to, have fully decided which of the tech fields you'd like to get into. You should also know the requirements to get started, and you should be well on your way to starting your tech journey. That's basically the essence of this free class. It's just to pivot you to tech from whatever field you're coming from. Um, all right. So before we proceed, I'd like for you guys to just tell me your name and where you're joining. I know a couple of people have done that, but if we can all do that, that would be nice. Just type your name and where you're joining from so that we can proceed. I can see Omoshaliwa from Ibadan, Timi from Lagos, Vivian from Uganda, Larry from Lagos, Samuel from. All right, without further ado, let's. I know most of you must have been hearing about tech. You know what is tech. Some people call themselves tech bros, tech says, and so on. And maybe you really do not know what tech means. So at the end of this call, you should be able to fully understand the concept of tech. Tech is just short for technology, right? Um, and what is technology? Technology is just the application of scientific knowledge to solve human problems. So technology can be anything actually, as long as your knowledge that you already have to solve problem, it's referred to as technology. So I'll give you a couple of examples to help you understand what I'm talking about. Now, remember back in the days, if you wanted to move from point A to point B, or maybe for instance, you wanted to go from maybe where you live to where you work, you would have to walk the entire distance, right? Because there was nothing for you to actually move with. But then someone realized that there is a scientific knowledge that says you can convert rotational motion to linear motion, right? So the person thought, if you can actually convert rotational motion to linear motion, how can we apply this knowledge to solve human problems? So the bicycle was invented. And then with the bicycle, instead of walking the entire distance, you could just convert your rotational motion by rotating your legs, and then it translates to linear motion. So that bicycle in that instance is referred to as rotational to linear motion to solve a human. Realize that it was quite stressful for you to go from point A to point B. I mean, you have to pedal. So someone said, what if we don't have to do the rotational to linear motion ourselves? What if we employ fuel to combust, and then this combustion can drive the crankshaft, and then this crankshaft can move an engine from point A to point B instead of you having to manually pedal? So cars were introduced, so people didn't have to manually pedal. You could just use fuel, and the fuel does the conversion of the rotational motion to linear motion, and it takes you from point A to point B. Then after a couple of years, people came out and said, it's quite stressful having to turn your steering left, right, or having to press your accelerator and your brakes. How about we just input the location of where we're going to, and then the car takes us there? So driverless cars were made. So, from time to time, new scientific knowledge are being applied to solve human problems, and that's basically what technology is. So, technology does not have to be something as complex as driverless cars or automobiles. It can be something as simple as a spoon or a fork And it tends to, so it can be tangible and it can be intangible, like a software or an application that you use from your day to day. Your mobile phones that allow you to make video calls. Those are all examples of technology. Now, when someone says tech or when technology is used in conversation these days, most times it usually refers to one of two things, right? So you can refer to the technology industry or the technology field. And I'll explain what those two mean briefly. Let me just take some chat messages. All right, welcome, guys. These are industries that employ technology in their day to day. Back in the days, there were conventional industries, right? So there were industries, banking industry, or the retail industry, or the automobile industry, and all they did was the conventional business setup. You create your business, you have marketers, and then you go out and you sell. The invention of tech industries that deal basically on tech products like tech software or tech hardware, industries like Apple, um, Flutterwave, Andela, basically they just deal with the technological aspect. Then there are called tech. So for instance, let's take the banking industry, for instance. The banking industry is a conventional industry. Back in the days, if you wanted to like store your money, you just walk to the bank, give them your money, they count it, and then they store it for you, then probably give you a receipt to tell you that, oh, your money is with us, and deposit it there. These things on your mobile phones, you can just transfer it to any. Now, in that conventional banking industry, there's a tech field. That is the people who are involved with the technologies of the company. In the bank, we have a cashier, we have a teller, we have the security guys. All these people are staff in the banking industry, but they are not in the tech field. But then in that same banking industry, there are people in the tech field. That means people that are in charge of maybe operating the mobile apps. People are in charge of maybe the website of the bank. People are in charge of making sure that the server is always up. So whenever you want to make your transfer, it goes smoothly. So even in that conventional industry, there is a tech field. The tech field are those guys involved in the technology of the company, things like internet, network, storage, and all of these other things, which would go into more details. So now when you hear tech, they're either referring to a tech industry like maybe Apple or Microsoft, or maybe they're referring to a tech field like departments in the conventional industry that handles the tech of that particular um, company. Is it clear before I proceed? Are you following me? Let me get responses on the chat box so I can proceed. All right. So now that you know about the tech field, there are a lot of different career paths in tech, right? There are a whole lot. There are over 1,000 different career paths, but I'm going to touch on like I think the most popular ones so that you can decide if this is what you would like to go into. I'll give like brief explanation about some of the career paths you can see here, and you can decide if it's something you think you would like to pursue. I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if you can see it on the chat bar. All right. So let's talk on the design tech role first of all, then we'll just move that way on to complete everything. In a tech department, right, in every company, there's usually a design department. The design department is tasked with, basically of the company. And design can range from a number of things. It can be the logo of the company, it can be the website, it can be the brand elements, it can be the adverts, people basically involved with the design. So the first one is graphics design. I'll just take everything together instead of taking one more. So graphics, UX, and product design, they are under their tech career path in the design department. So graphic design might be tasked with creating things like the logo of the company. I believe that if you look at virtually every company, they always have a logo. For instance, this is YouTube's logo for that company to design the logo. Not limited to just logos. There are a lot of things that graphics designers they're in charge of the logos, the brand elements, maybe the flyers for the social media campaigns or the marketing campaigns, just anything that has to do with graphics. They are involved in that. Um, then moving on, there is the UI UX designer. So UI means user interface and UX means user experience. Sometimes they are interchangeable with the product designer. A product design field is like a broader term that encompasses both UI, UX, graphics design, anything that has to do with design. As long as it's a product and a company, that's what a product designer does. So I'll just explain UI, UX, and product designer together. Now, if you're building something like, say, a website, I know that you know that virtually every business these days has it. Virtually every company these days has a website. But before you build a website, you need to have the layout of how you expect the website to be, right? The designer, UI UX design is going to stand there, there, and to appear. So that's basically like, or like I created the design. The person that builds the website will now proceed to implementing it and building it like this, just the same way the UI UX designer created it. Is this clear? Do you understand the task of a UI UX designer now? So they're basically like architects, right? I hope you do. That's basically the same thing with a product designer. A product designer also designs a product. The product can be a website, it can be a flyer, it can be a logo, it can be anything. So product design is like the broad term that covers UI, UX, graphics design, and so on. And UI, UX is not just limited to what I just explained. The part I just explained is user interface. There's also something called user experience, which is UX, where you have to, do market research and survey and find out how the best experience for users. For instance, let's take your banking app. If you log into your banking apps, some of the banking apps sometimes it doesn't display your account. So there's an eye icon where you can click on it to display your account and click on it to hide your balance in case you're logging in where people are and you don't want people to see your balance. So that's an example of user experience. A lot of study and research has been made, and then they realized that people really do not like their balance to be displayed. So a UI UX person is going to implement all of those things, design it, then the person that's going to build it will now take that design and build it. That's basically what a UI UX designer does. I hope it's clear. Please, if it is, drop it on the comments. If you have any questions, also drop it on the chat box. So now let's go to the development part of tech. Now, all these career paths I'm explaining are career paths in the tech field, right? So virtually every company has a tech department, and these are the kind of career paths you'd see in the tech department. Okay, now so let's touch on the first one, which is web development. So a web developer is someone who, in simple terms, builds a website. So all of these websites that you see were built by web developers. Now, a web developer works hand in hand with a product designer. The explanation I just gave, after the product designer has designed this page, how he wants this section to be, how the frequently asked question section should be. After he has designed this page, then a web developer will now take this design and then create it into a website like this, where it is now interactive, it is now a proper website. So this is different from this design. This is just a design. It's static. It can actually, be responsive, but a design is not a real website. It's just like a drawing, like an architectural piece. But then a web developer will now take that design and convert it into a real website by writing code. So a web developer writes some codes like HTML, CSS, JavaScript to convert that design that UI UX person has made into a functioning website, just the same way with the same guidelines that the UI UX person has done. I hope that is clear, please. I think the chat is lagging. I don't think it's the same speed with the video. But is that clear before I proceed? Do you understand the differences between a web developer and a product designer and how they work hand in hand? All right. So now a web developer, there are like different rules even under web development. So for instance, there is a front end developer, there is a back end developer, there is a full stack developer, right? So a front end developer is in charge of building websites like this. The part of the website that the users interact with, that is this part. That's basically what the front end developer does, build this part of the website. But there's also a back end developer. That one builds the back end of the website. Basically, what that means is the part of the website that you do not interact with. So as you see this website, this is not all there is to the website. There's like a back end. Basically, what that means is there's something called server, there's storage, there's databases. So for instance, if you go on this website and then you sign up, your name, your email, your password, all of those things will go somewhere. So that place that it goes is what the back end developer is involved with. They are not involved with this front end part, this part that the user interacts with. They are involved with things that happen behind the scene of the website. So things like server, storage, databases, and all of those other things that you do not interact with. So a web developer can either be a front end developer or a back end developer, or it can do both. Then is a full stack developer. So whenever you hear full stack, that means the person does both front end and back end. Um, I hope that's clear, please. Someone says there is an echo on the sound. Mm, there is an echo. I hope you don't have the tab opened, this website opened on two tabs. Can you guys hear me clearly though? Please let me know you can hear me clearly before I proceed. I'm not getting any response. What's going on? Okay, I can see the response now. Okay. All right. And you can also see my screen, right? Because at the same time, I'm joining with my phone, and on my phone, I can't see my screen, so I don't know what's happening. Can you see my screen? So some people can see my screen, some people cannot see my screen. That's crazy. You know what? Let me stop. Let me stop sharing and start sharing again. Um. Wow. What's going on? I'm sharing my screen again. Yet even on my phone, I can't see the screen. This is the first time using YouTube Live, so I don't know what's going on. Let me try again. So I've been sharing my screen over and over again, and on my phone, I also can't see it. So I don't think it's from my end. I don't know what's going on. But I mean, some people said they can see my screen. So what is happening? Let me just go ahead with the explanation, then maybe it'll be sorted out along the way. Okay. And maybe I'll also share the PDF file I used with you guys so that you can understand what I'm doing. All right. So we're moving on to software development. Software development is quite similar to web development, but the difference is while web development deals with building websites, software development deals with building applications and software. So, for instance, there's a Facebook website and there's also a Facebook application. There's a Twitter website, there's also a Twitter application. So, the web developers build the website, the Facebook or the Twitter website, while the software developers build the Facebook or the Twitter software. That's the difference between a web developer and a software developer. So, there are a whole lot. There's game development, there's Android development. Basically, they're all like spin offs from web development. All right, so let's go to the main one, which is the data field. So there's data analytics, there's data science, there's data engineering, there are a whole lot of others, but I'm just going to focus on those three. I really wish you could see my screen because there are a couple of explanations I would like to do, and I need to display my screen um, for you to understand. So I think what I'll do is can I switch to a Google Meet link? What do you think? Should I create a Google Meet link and share it here? Let me get your responses. Let me know if I should do that. Okay. Okay, the link. So I've shared the Google Meet link. Let's join, please, so that I can end this. Let's join so I can end the YouTube. Please mute your mics when you join. Still waiting for others to join in.